CQ calling all radio amateurs and listeners. This is Golf Bravo 2 Romeo Sierra, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain. This broadcast comes to you from amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Meppershall, Bedfordshire. Welcome and thanks for joining us. It's Sunday the 20th of October and here is the GB2RS news broadcast, which was prepared for you by the RSGB and is made available to all radio amateurs and listeners. You can also find this news bulletin on the RSGB website at rsgb.org, along with links to groups and organisations that may be mentioned in this broadcast. This week's headlines. We welcome your feedback on last week's 2024 RSGB convention. Today is your last day to get involved with Jamboree on the Air 2024. And we're looking for youth champions to help encourage and support youngsters in amateur radio. We'll have more on those items a little later, but first the RSGB 2024 convention took place last weekend and brought together hundreds of visitors as well as many more from around the world who watched the live stream. We're already getting an overwhelming amount of positive feedback, but if you did attend the convention and haven't yet completed the feedback form, please go to rsgb.org/feedback and share your thoughts with us. And if you watch the live stream, we'd also love to hear from you and to get your feedback. To do so, please visit rsgb.org/livestream-feedback and let us know what you thought of the online event. And the feedback forms will close at the end of October. The live streams for both days are available for everyone to watch, so if you'd like to catch up on the presentations, go to the RSGB website and look for Convention 2024 live stream. And as well as talks from the weekend, you'll also find exclusive special interviews and pre-recorded videos. Now today, the 20th, is the last day of Jamboree on the Air, also known as JOTA. The event promotes friendship and global citizenship, and it's a brilliant celebration of amateur radio among the Scouting Association. We've compiled a list of scouting groups that are involved with the annual event, and we've shared it on the RSGB website at rsgb.org/JOTA. And once you're there, then choose the JOTA Stations on the Air link, which you'll find on the right-hand side of the page. And we'd love to see your photos of scouts getting involved with JOTA, so tag at the RSGB and also use hashtag JOTA to be involved in the conversation on social media. And if you're not involved with a JOTA station, do listen out and encourage the young operators on the air. And there'll be a report in Radcom, so please send details and photos from your event to radcom@rsgb.org.uk, and please do so by the 15th of November. Following the recent appointment of two youth champions for schools and universities, we're keen to expand the team, and we're looking for a youth champion for scouts, guides and cadets, and another one to lead activities and create resources to support young people once they've gained their foundation license. And our aim is to motivate them to try new things within amateur radio. The four youth champions will work closely as a team, as well as with RSGB board liaison Ben Lloyd, Golf Whiskey 4 Bravo Mike Lima, and the RSGB outreach team. The youth champions will also create a youth team and run a net or sked to involve all youngsters. Well, do you have what it takes to engage with young people and support them on their amateur radio journey? Another part of each youth champion's role is to give input and support for current activities, such as promoting and participating in Youngsters on the Air Month each December. So if you're a proactive person experienced at managing your own time efficiently and also a good leader who can build relationships and mentor young people, and if you're passionate about growing the number of young people involved in amateur radio, then one of these roles could be for you. Take a look at the youth activities on our website at rsgb.org facebook.com/youth, and there you can see some of the great things that are happening already. And if you are interested in being part of the team, contact our youth board liaison, that's Ben Lloyd, Golf Whiskey 4 Bravo Mike Lima, and his email address is Golf Whiskey 4 Bravo Mike Lima @rsgb.org.uk. The 12th Scottish Microwave Roundtable, or GMRT, will go ahead on Saturday the 9th of November 2024, and that's at the Museum of Communication in Burntisland in Fife. Lunch will be available, and there'll be an optional dinner in the evening at a local hotel. The programme is confirmed, and 43 people have so far booked to attend the event. There are only 7 places left, so please, if you are interested in going, then book as soon as possible to avoid disappointment. Online booking is available via the GMRT website, and the URL is GM Roundtable, that's Golf Mike Roundtable, all one word, .org.uk, or you can email Colin, Golf Mike 4 Hotel Whiskey Oscar. His email address is golfmike 4 Hotel Whiskey Oscar @gmail.com. And now just a reminder to please send details of all your news and events to radcom@rsgb.org.uk. The deadline for submissions is 10 a.m. on Thursdays before the Sunday broadcast each week. And now we have details of rallies and events. Part 2 of the British Amateur Television Club Convention for Amateur TV 2024, also known as CAT 24, will take place on Saturday the 26th of October. The online event will run from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. and it will feature talks about amateur television related topics. And for more information, visit the event website, which is, I'll spell this phonetically, it's Bravo Alpha Tango Charlie.org.uk/live. Carrickfergus Amateur Radio Group's Rally also takes place on Saturday the 26th of October, and it's being held at the Elim Pentecostal Church on North Road in Carrickfergus. The doors will open from 11:30 a.m. and refreshments will be available. You can find more information, including contact details, on the group's Facebook page. The next Essex CW Boot Camp is on Saturday the 26th of October. The event is an opportunity to meet your friends and enjoy a day of Morse code activities, tea, coffee and cakes. And if you'd like to attend but haven't yet registered, you can email info@essexcw, that's all one word, essexcw.org.uk. And for more information about the event, you can also go to the event website, which is essexcw, all one word, .uk. The Galashiels Rally takes place on Sunday the 27th of October at the Volunteer Hall, St John's Street in Galashiels, and the postcode is Tango Delta 1 3 Juliet X-ray. The doors will open from 11 a.m. and admission is £3 with refreshments, traders and a bring and buy area to enjoy. For more information, contact Rally Queries, that's all one word, Rally Queries, at galaradioclub.co.uk, or you can visit their website, which is Gala Radio Club, that's Golf Alpha Lima Alpha, Romeo Alpha Delta, India Oscar, Charlie Lima Uniform Bravo.co.uk. And now we have the special event news. Special event station Papa Foxtrot 16 Foxtrot is active to say farewell to the F-16 fighter aircraft, or Fighting Falcon. After 45 years of service from 1979 to 2024, the F-16 will retire from the Royal Netherlands Air Force. Members of Radio Club Limburg will operate the call sign until the 30th of November 2024 and hope to work as many amateur radio operators across the world as possible. For more information about the station, you can visit the website, which is, I'll spell phonetically, it's Romeo Charlie Lima Bravo .November Lima / Papa Foxtrot 16 Foxtrot. As part of the celebrations to mark the centenary of the world's first trans-global two-way radio communication, special call sign Golf Bravo 2 Zulu Lima has been active at times from the UK. This is in addition to the main UK activity from Golf Bravo 2 November Zulu, Golf 2 Sierra Zulu and others. On Tuesday the 15th of October, the Golf Bravo 2 Zulu Lima station, operated by Chris, Golf Mike 3 Whiskey Oscar Juliet from near Inverness, made a remarkable QSO with the Zulu Lima 4 Alpha Alpha team, located just north of Dunedin. The Zulu Lima 4 Alpha Alpha station was operated by Dave, Zulu Lima 4 Delta Kilo, Mike, Zulu Lima 4 Oscar Lima, and Stephen, Zulu Lima 4 Bravo November. And this contact on the 40-metre band long path at 0721 UTC was made using Morse code. 559 reports were exchanged each way, and the operators at both ends were thrilled to make the contact. And at each end of the contact was an 80-year-old all-valve military transceiver from New Zealand, the iconic ZC1. These radios date from 1944, just 20 years after the first UK to New Zealand contact. For more information about the station and the ZC1 transceiver, you can visit the Golf Bravo 2 Zulu Lima page at qrz.com. Sylvia, Oscar Echo 5 Yankee Yankee November, is active as Oscar Echo 20 Sierra Oscar Tango Alpha, or Oscar Echo 20 SOTA, until the 31st of October, and that's to mark the 20th anniversary of Austria joining the Summits on the Air programme. You can find details of a certificate that's available if you work the station. You'll find that on qrz.com, and look up the call sign Oscar Echo 20 Sierra Oscar Tango Alpha. And now we have the DX news. Harold, Delta Foxtrot 2 Whiskey Oscar, is active as 9 X-Ray 2 Alpha Whiskey. He's operating from Rwanda, and he'll be active until the 22nd of October using Morse code, FT4 and SSB on the 80 to 10 metre bands. You might also catch Harold operating through the QO100 satellite, and he hopes to be active on the 6 metre band. You can QSL via OQRS. Stefan, Foxtrot 5 Uniform Oscar Whiskey, is active as Foxtrot Romeo stroke Foxtrot 5 Uniform Oscar Whiskey. He's operating from Reunion Island, which is IOTA reference Alpha Foxtrot 016, and he'll be active until the 28th of October. He's using Morse code only on the 17 to 10 metre bands, and you can QSL via Logbook of the World only. And now we move across to the contest news. The Work Tool Germany contest started at 1500 UTC on Saturday the 19th, and it ends at 1500 UTC today, the 20th of October. Using Morse code and SSB on the 80 to 10 metre bands where contests are allowed, the exchange is signal report and serial number. Also today it's the RSGB 50 MHz Affiliated Societies contest, and that runs from 0900 to 1300 UTC. Using all modes on the 6 metre band, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. Then on Tuesday the 22nd, it's the RSGB Super High Frequency UK Activity Contest, and that runs from 1830 to 2130 UTC. Using all modes on the 2.3 to 10 GHz bands, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. Then on Thursday the 24th, it's the RSGB's Autumn Series SSB contest, and that runs from 1900 to 2030 UTC. Using SSB on the 80 metre band, the exchange is signal report and serial number. Then we have the CQ Worldwide DX SSB contest, which started at 0100 UTC on, or which starts, should I say, on 0100 UTC on Saturday the 26th. And ends at 23:59 UTC on Sunday the 27th of October. Using SSB on the 160 to 10 metre bands, the exchange is signal report and CQ zone. And if you're operating from the UK, your CQ zone is 14, that's 14. And now we have the radio propagation report. This was compiled by Golf 0 Kilo Yankee Alpha, Golf 3 Yankee Lima Alpha and Golf 4 Bravo Alpha Oscar on Thursday the 17th of October. The past week has had a low geomagnetic KP index with excellent conditions on HF, including the 10-metre band. The solar flux index has been between 168 and 195, with a KP index that never rose above 4, so conditions have been better than the previous week, which did suffer from the bad effects of solar flares and coronal mass ejections. This came as NASA, NOAA and the International Solar Cycle Prediction Panel announced that the Sun has reached its solar maximum period, which should continue for the next year. The announcement was not unexpected, and we won't know the exact period of maximum activity for some time, but it is a wake-up call for you to get on the bands and make the most of the conditions. NOAA expects more solar and geomagnetic storms during the current solar maximum period and during the declining phase of the solar cycle. The solar flux index fell from over 200 to be in the range of 160 to 195 last week, which was more than enough to keep the ionosphere running. Maximum usable frequencies over a 3,000 kilometre path have been consistently above 28 MHz during daylight, falling to around 11 MHz overnight. Next week, the Space Weather Prediction Centre thinks that the solar flux index will rise above 200 again, but we may also get some geomagnetic disturbances on the 22nd and 23rd, when the KP index might rise to around 4. Meanwhile, October can be one of the best months for HF propagation, with good 10-metre band openings to Australasia in the morning and North and South America in the afternoon. Well, that's all for the HF propagation predictions. We now move across to the VHF and up propagation news, and this was compiled by Golf 3 Yankee Lima Alpha and Golf 4 Bravo Alpha Oscar. The unsettled spell of weather seems set to continue into next week, and it's not unusual at this time of year. We should expect a more changeable pattern around the autumn as the main polar front jet stream moves south across the UK into its winter state over the Mediterranean. There may be some brief periods when the extended region of high pressure across Europe affects conditions over the British Isles, and that will be mainly in the southeastern corner. This is shown by some models around midweek for potential tropospheric propagation from southeastern England into the continent or across the North Sea to northern Europe and southern Scandinavia. The obvious mode to use on the gigahertz bands during this unsettled weather period will be rain scatter, and meteor scatter in October has a few showers of interest. The Orionids and the Taurids are both active during the coming week, and the Orionids, which are associated with the comet Halley, peak on Monday and Tuesday. Sporadic E may be out of season, but there's always some sporadic E, and recent indications have shown the response of raised critical frequencies of the sporadic E layer happen around midday, according to the propquest.co.uk NVIS graphs. You may also see peaks earlier in the day around dawn, which is the best time for meteor input. And beware, it is easy to get hooked on out-of-season sporadic E hunting. For moon bounce or EME operators, moon declination is positive and rising. Path losses will rise again after perigee on Thursday the 17th, and that's to give increasing peak moon elevations and longer moon windows until Tuesday the 22nd. 144 MHz sky noise is low to moderate for the rest of the week, and that's all from the propagation team this week. This is Golf Bravo 2 Romeo Sierra, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain, brought to you by amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Meppershall, Bedfordshire. Well, next we have the local news, and please note that details of all RSGB affiliated clubs and societies can be found on the RSGB website, and that includes the email addresses and website links where we know them. We'll start off with news for the Midlands. The Bolsover Amateur Radio Society meet every other Tuesday, starting at 8 p.m. at the Bainbridge Hall in Bolsover. The postcode is Sierra 446 Papa X-ray. The next meeting will be on Tuesday the 29th of October, and you can find more information and get reminders for meetings on the Society's Facebook page, which is at Bolsover ARS. That's all one word, at Bolsover ARS, with at being the symbol for at rather than the letters. Bromsgrove and District Amateur Radio Club meet every Friday from 8 p.m, and they also have a regular coffee morning on Wednesdays in the Club Shack from 10:30 a.m. On Monday and Wednesday evenings they have nets on 145.375 MHz starting at 7:30 p.m. The Burton Amateur Radio Club has open nets around 145.575 MHz at 10 a.m. on Sundays and 8 p.m. on Thursdays. Then on Monday they have slow Morse code exercises on 14.055 MHz from 11 a.m. and the club meets every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Central Radio Amateur Circle has a net on 145.575 MHz from 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday and from 12 p.m. on Saturday, and the group will have a Google meeting at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Cheltenham Amateur Radio Association has daily nets on 145.400 MHz at 8:10 a.m. and they have a Friday net which is on 144.350 MHz from 8 p.m. And for more information visit their website, which is golf5bravokilo.uk. The Dudley and District Amateur Radio Society meet every Tuesday from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Wrighton Mill. That's on 59 Vale Street in Upper Gornal, Dudley, and the postcode is Delta Yankee 3 X-Ray Foxtrot. Gloucester Amateur Radio and Electronic Society has an informal net every day on 145.475 MHz FM at 3:30 p.m. On Wednesday they have a net from 7:30 p.m. on 145.475 MHz FM. Then on Thursday the net starts at 7:30 p.m. on 145.475 MHz FM, moving to 80 meters SSB later on. Then on Friday they have a net on 432.220 MHz SSB starting at 7:30 p.m. On Saturday and Sunday, the 26th and 27th, members of the Hinckley Amateur Radio and Electronic Society will take part in the CQ Worldwide DX SSB contest. Kettering and District Amateur Radio Society has a breakfast meeting from 10 a.m. on Sundays, and on Tuesdays they have a club meeting from 7 p.m. The Society's nets take place on Thursdays on 145.300 MHz from 7 p.m. On Monday, Leicester Radio Society will hold a meeting at its club rooms and via Zoom from 7:30 p.m. and on Thursday there'll be a club meeting from 10 a.m. Lincoln Shortwave Club meets at the BSA Village Hall from 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday and from 7:30 a.m. on Saturday. On Thursday they'll have a net through Golf Bravo 3 Lima Sierra, or if that's busy they'll use 145.350 MHz. And for more information you can visit their website, which is golf5foxtrotzulu.co.uk. On Tuesday, Loughborough and District Amateur Radio Club will have a vintage night, and they invite members to bring equipment along for discussion. On Tuesdays, Malvern Hills Radio Amateurs Club hold an informal meeting, and on Wednesdays they have a net on 145.350 MHz FM from 8 p.m. Today, the 20th, the Midland Amateur Radio Society will hold an open meeting with a rag chew and training classes. On Thursday, Northampton Radio Club will hold an all-star node project night from 8 p.m. and for more information you can visit their website, which is Northampton Radio Club, all one word, northamptonradioclub.co.uk. On Monday, Nunsfield House Amateur Radio Group will have a shack night and club net on 145.300 MHz from 8 p.m. Then on Friday, members will meet to watch episode 31 of TX Factor. On Monday, RAF Waddington Amateur Radio Club will meet at the Pie Wipe from 8 p.m, and on Friday the club have a net on 145.325 MHz from 7:30 p.m. Rugby Amateur Transmitting Society has weekday nets at 8:30 a.m. on 144.275 MHz upper sideband, and they also have training and practice Morse code nets, which take place on Monday and Thursday at 4:30 p.m. on 144.275 MHz, starting off using upper sideband, then moving across to Morse code. And the society will meet from 8 p.m. on Tuesday and from 2 p.m. on Saturday at the Borton Lee 12th Rugby Scouts Hut. Then on Friday they'll have a net from 8 p.m. on 1913 kHz. On Thursday, Salop Amateur Radio Society will have a club night, and that's including operating from its shack. And for more information, you can visit their website, which is Salop Radio Society, all one word, .org. On Thursday, Solihull Amateur Radio Society has a club net on 2 metres from 8 p.m. South Birmingham Radio Society has an open club night on Fridays from 7:30 p.m, and visitors are also welcome to attend the Society's coffee mornings from 10 a.m. on Tuesdays. On Tuesday, South Derbyshire and Ashby Wolds Amateur Radio Group will have a net on 144.225 MHz SSB starting at 7 p.m. Then on Wednesday they'll have a club evening from 7 p.m, and on Sundays they have a net on 70.425 MHz from 7 p.m. On Sundays, Stafford and Districts Amateur Radio Society have a net on 145.375 MHz from 8 p.m, and on Wednesdays members meet at the Wildwood Community Centre from 8 p.m. On Monday, Stourbridge and District Amateur Radio Society will be on the air from Norton Community Centre from 8 p.m. On Monday, Sutton Coldfield Amateur Radio Society have an open net around 145.250 MHz from 7:30 p.m. Then on Sunday, Telford and District Amateur Radio Society will be active for Jota, and on Wednesday members will listen to a talk being given by Richard Wilkinson. And for more information, visit their website, which I'll spell phonetically. It's Tango Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.org.uk. Tomorrow the 21st, the Welland Valley Amateur Radio Society will meet at Great Bowden Village Hall from 7 p.m, and members will listen to a talk about Raynet UK. Wolverhampton Amateur Radio Society meet every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. at the Wednesfield and Woodend British Legion. On Sundays they have a net around 145.350 MHz from 8 p.m, and there you can find more information on what the club is up to on their website, which is wolverhamptonars.co.uk. That's all one word, Wolverhampton ARS, or you can look at WolvesARS on social media. On Sundays, Withell Radio Club has its net on 145.225 MHz from 7 p.m. And now we move down and across for news in the southeast and East Anglia. Banbury Amateur Radio Society have a net most evenings on 144.5125 MHz FM, and members meet for a club night from 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. For more information, visit their website, which is Banbury ARES. That's all one word, banburyares.co.uk. On Monday, Bishop Stortford Amateur Radio Society will have its annual general meeting, and please contact the secretary for details if you'd like to attend. Then on Wednesday they'll have a net on 145.5625 MHz FM starting at 8 p.m. Today the 20th, the Bitton DX Group is active for Jota. They're operating with the Reepham Scout Group. Then on Thursday they'll have a net starting on 145.500 MHz from 7:30 p.m. On Sundays, Bracknell Amateur Radio Club has a net through Golf Bravo 3 Bravo November from 5 p.m. and through Golf Bravo 3 Alpha Lima repeater from 5:30 p.m. Then on Wednesday, the club has a net on 145.375 MHz FM from 8 p.m. Today the 20th, Braintree and District Amateur Radio Society will be active from Gosfield School. That's for Jamboree on the Air. And the Society's annual construction contest will be held on Tuesday from 8 p.m. and all amateurs are welcome to join in. The Bredhurst Receiving and Transmitting Society meet in its shack every Wednesday from 7 p.m. and they also have a net through Golf Bravo 3 Delta Alpha on Thursdays. On Wednesday, Bromley and District Amateur Radio Society have a net starting on 145.500 MHz from 9 p.m. And for more information, you can visit their website, which is BDARS, that's Bravo Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra .wordpress.com. Burnham Beeches Radio Club has its net from 10:30 a.m. on Sundays, starting on 145.500 MHz before moving to 145.275 MHz. Tomorrow, the 21st, members will hold a construction evening. That starts at 8 p.m. Then on Saturday, they'll have a net on 7.063 MHz from 4:30 p.m. The Bury St Edmunds Amateur Radio Society meet at the Rougham Tower Museum on the third Wednesday of each month. They're a small but very active club and they have club nets every day of the week except Sunday. You can find details on the club's website, which is Bravo Sierra Echo Alpha Romeo Sierra.co.uk, and the club's general chat frequencies are 144.7375 MHz FM and 433.400 MHz FM. On Sundays, the Chelmsford Amateur Radio Society has a Morse code net on 144.060 MHz from 8 p.m. Then on Monday they have Morse code classes from 7:30 p.m. around 3542 kHz, and that's followed at 8:15 p.m. by Golf Bravo 2 Charlie Whiskey slow Morse transmissions on 3555 kHz. Then on Tuesday they have an open net on 3756 kHz from 8 p.m. And on Thursday they'll have Morse code classes via Skype starting at 7 p.m. On Tuesday, the Chelsea Pensioners Radio Club have their net on 145.375 MHz from 2 p.m. On Tuesday, Colchester Radio Amateurs Club has nets on 433.400 MHz from 7 p.m. and on 1.920 MHz lower sideband from 8 p.m. Then on Wednesday, they have an open net around 145.350 MHz from 7 p.m. And on Thursday, the club has an open net on 3.685 MHz from 7 p.m. Then on Friday, they have an open DX net. That's on 14.125 MHz with help on 145.350 MHz from 2:30 p.m. On Sundays, Coulsdon Amateur Transmitting Society has nets on 145.4 MHz from 11 a.m. and on 3.700 MHz from 5 p.m. Then on Wednesday, the net is around 70.425 MHz from 9 p.m. Crawley Amateur Radio Club meet from 11 a.m. on Sundays, 8 p.m. on Wednesdays and 2 p.m. on Fridays. The club meets at Hut 18. That's on Tilgate Drive, Crawley, and the postcode is Romeo Hotel 105 Hotel Whiskey. For more information, you can contact Stuart, Golf 3 Yankee Sierra X-Ray. Stuart's phone number is 0772 006 8493. The Cray Valley Radio Society meet in the Scout headquarters behind 61 to 71 Southend Crescent in Eltham, London, and the postcode is Sierra Echo 9 to Sierra Delta. Their 2-metre net is on 145.350 MHz on Sundays at 10 a.m. and their 4-metre net is on 70.425 MHz on Fridays at 8 p.m. And they also have a top band SSB net which moves to AM later on. That's on the first Monday of each month around 1905 kHz at 8 p.m. And the next meeting will be tomorrow the 21st, when Paul, Mike 0 Whiskey Papa Golf, will give a talk entitled A Ham Clock. On Wednesdays, Crystal Palace Radio and Electronics Club has a net on 145.525 MHz from 8 p.m. and on Saturdays the club has a net on 51.550 MHz FM from 8 p.m. On Sundays, the Darenth Valley Radio Society have their net on 145.475 MHz at 8 a.m. The Dorking and District Radio Society has a net each day from Monday to Saturday on 144.775 MHz FM. Excuse me. And that's at 10 a.m. On Thursday, the Dover Amateur Radio Club will meet for a club night, and for more information you can visit their website, which is Delta Alpha Romeo Charlie.online. On Thursday, Edgware and District Radio Society will meet for a discussion evening on the topic of memorable contacts. Essex Ham has a net on Monday through Golf Bravo 3 Delta Alpha from 8 p.m. with chat room and audio feed at essexham.net. On Wednesday, Farnborough and District Radio Society will have a used equipment sale, and their annual general meeting will be on Sunday the 27th of October. On Sundays, the Felixstowe and District Amateur Radio Society has a net on 145.400 MHz from 10 a.m. And tomorrow, the 21st, members will meet for a natter night at Broadway House from 7:30 p.m. Then on Wednesday, they have a net through Golf Bravo 3 India Hotel from 7:30 p.m. On Wednesdays, Hammersmith Amateur Radio Society have their club night at the William Morris School Annex, and that's from 7 p.m. On Tuesday, members of the Harlow and District Amateur Radio Society will have a technical meeting from 10 a.m. and on Wednesday they'll have a net on 145.425 MHz from 7:30 p.m. Then on Thursday they'll have a digital net, that's on the XLX215 reflector. And on Friday the Society will meet from 8 p.m. and visitors are welcome to attend. The Hastings and Electronics and Radio Club have a daily net on the Golf Bravo 3 Echo Sierra repeater at 10 a.m. They also have a Morse code net which is held on Monday nights at 8 p.m. on 144.575 MHz. The Morse net is aimed at anyone new to Morse code or who wishes to brush up their Morse code skills, and non-members are welcome to take part. The net is then followed by general conversation. Then on Wednesdays, usually at 1 p.m, members meet up at various locations in the area for an afternoon of portable radio on both HF and VHF using SSB, Morse code and FM, and non-members are welcome to take part. The details do vary each week, so it's a good idea to visit the club's website on Wednesday mornings, and there you can view the up-to-date information about where and when the next meeting will take place. And the website address is hastings-radio-club.com. On Tuesday, Horndean and District Amateur Radio Club have a Morse code net at 9 a.m. around 1950 kHz. Then that moves to SSB at 9:30 a.m. Then on Sundays they have an 8 p.m. net on 433.450 MHz, and that moves to 145.375 MHz on Wednesdays from 7:30 p.m. On Sundays, the Isle of Wight Radio Society has a net through Golf Bravo 7 Papa Oscar and Golf Bravo 7 Mike Tango from 8 p.m. and the Society has a net from Monday to Friday through Golf Bravo 3 India Whiskey from 6:15 a.m. Then on Tuesday, the Society will take part in the Bramble net through Golf Bravo 3 India Whiskey from 7:30 p.m. On Thursday, they have another net through GB2RS, and that's followed by a Zoom meeting from 8 p.m. Then on Fridays, members meet at Haylands Farm in Ryde, and foundation and intermediate license training is available at those meetings. On Friday, Itchen Valley Amateur Radio Club will meet at the Bianchi Suite in Otterbourne Village Hall. Loughton and Epping Forest Amateur Radio Society has a net on Wednesday from 8 p.m. on Brandmeister DMR Talk Group 23511. Then on Thursday they have a net from 8 p.m. on 144.725 MHz FM, and on Friday they'll have a Zoom meeting from 8 p.m. The Lowestoft District and Pye Amateur Radio Club has a net on Sundays from 433.575 MHz from 7 p.m. Then on Tuesday they have a net on 145.475 MHz from 7 p.m. And the club meets on Thursday evenings from 7:30 p.m. The last net of the week is on Friday, and that's on 51.490 MHz from 7 p.m. The Martello Tower Group has a net every Monday evening at 8 p.m. through Golf Bravo 3 Charlie Lima, and on Sundays the group has a net through Golf Bravo 3 Charlie Echo, and that's from 8 p.m. Medway Amateur Receiving and Transmitting Society nets take place each weekday from 9:30 a.m. on 144.650 MHz. On Friday, Mid Sussex Amateur Radio Society will meet for a nag and a natter evening at Cypress Hall from 7:30 p.m. and refreshments will be available for a small fee. Milton Keynes Amateur Radio Society is active today, the 20th, with Milton Keynes Scouts. That's from the Quarries campsite for Jamboree on the Air. Then on Wednesday, they have a net on 28.390 MHz from 8 p.m. And on Friday, the Society will meet via Zoom for coffee and a chat, starting at 10:30 a.m. Norfolk Amateur Radio Club has a net via Golf Bravo 3 November Bravo every Monday from 7:30 p.m. and that's followed by a Morse code net on 3.543 MHz at 8:30 p.m. Shefford and District Radio Society has a regular top band net on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. That's on 1.985 MHz lower sideband, and there's also a net every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Through Golf Bravo 3 Papa India, and that's so you can catch up with news, activities and developments. And this coming Thursday, members will listen to a talk on 4 metre and 23 centimetre beacons, and that's being presented by Dave, Golf 4 Foxtrot Kilo India. On Wednesday, Southdown Amateur Radio Society will have a cafe meeting at 12:15 p.m. and this will be followed by a net through Golf Bravo 3 Zulu X-Ray from 2 p.m. Stevenage and District Amateur Radio Society meet every Tuesday evening from 7:30 p.m. at the Stevenage Resource Centre. That's on Chells Way, Stevenage, and the postcode is Sierra Golf 2 0 Lima Tango. Free tea, coffee and biscuits are provided for everyone attending. They also have a net on Friday evenings on the 80 metre band close to 3726 kHz. And they have a VHF net which is usually organised on the last Friday of each month from 8 p.m. on 145.450 MHz. The club operates using the call sign Golf 3 Sierra Alpha Delta, and everyone's welcome to join in regardless of club membership. You can find more information on the club on their website, which is Sierra Alpha Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.com. On Sundays, Surrey Radio Contact Club have a net on 1.905 MHz at 9:30 a.m. Monday sees a net on 3.710 MHz from 9 a.m. And on Tuesday there's a net on 51.550 MHz from 8 p.m. On Wednesday the net is on 28.078 MHz JS8 starting at 10 a.m. Then on Thursday they meet on 70.300 MHz from 8 p.m. whilst on Friday it's a D-Star net which is on 144.6125 MHz from 7:30 p.m. and an FM net on 145.350 MHz from 8 p.m. West Kent Amateur Radio Society has regular weekly nets. You can find details of these and other club information on their website, which is Whiskey Kilo Alpha Romeo Sierra.org.uk. On Monday, the Society will enjoy an illustrated talk about antenna simulation, and that will be given by Phil, Golf 3, Mike, Golf Quebec. On Friday, Witten Amateur Radio Group will have a club night, including HF and VHF operating. And for more information, you can visit their website, which is Whiskey Alpha Romeo Golf .dreamhosters, that's all one word, dreamhosters.com. Well, that's all for this week's GB2RS news broadcast, which was brought to you by Graham, Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Meppershall, Bedfordshire. The news was compiled by the Radio Society of Great Britain, who represent amateur radio and radio amateurs in the UK and abroad. If you have a news item to share, please email it to us as far in advance as possible so that we can include it for you free of charge in the GB2RS news broadcast, Radcom magazine and the RSGB website. Send it to the editorial team, whose email address is radcom@rsgb.org.uk. And if your news items are time sensitive, then please be sure to send them to us by 10 a.m. on the Thursday before the news broadcast. The RSGB will retain the copyright over all material transmitted. You can find information about amateur radio on our website, which is rsgb.org. You can also download the full schedule of GB2RS broadcasts from rsgb.org/GB2RS schedule. Well, we wish you 7-3 from the GB2RS news team. We hope that you have a lovely Sunday and a great week ahead, and I'll be back again next week. Now, GB2RS isn't licensed for two-way communications, so for the post-news net, I'll use my own call sign Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta. So, hello, this is Graham, Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Meppershall, Bedfordshire,